So Brand Challenges is essentially a 5-week program where we get given a client and we reinvigorate their brand.
It's amazing that we get to experience like real life clients, and then we get real budgets and we get real life problems, and as students we get to actually see what we do in the real life context.
Vega students from all specializations get together and they work on a live brief for a live client.
I mean, first week's like agency. That week is quite tough for the creatives.
We come up with the name, our values, mission, goals, objectives, everything. It's like a full rundown of what we do. Yeah, second week is research, so that's primary and secondary research.
We've done focus groups, questionnaires, surveys, interviews.
Here's a brand and a client who needs something.
These are their real issues,
real
you know?
issues. Help them come up with solutions. You guys have to think critically, innovatively, and you need to help them come up with the solutions for this. And in the end, you might win or you might not, but at least you've thought that.
And also for me, I feel like we're at an advantage because I mean, other universities don't work with real clients. They just go and do theory and that's it. And I feel like at Vega, we have such an advantage to be able to do this.
Third week is concepts. It's where we just
Pretty much just take all the research that we've been doing in the previous week and boil it down into
key insights
and concepts.
It gives you an understanding of time crunches. It also helps you brush up on your skills.
Fourth week is more
concept development, so like refining a concept into one big concept. Fifth week is just implementation.
The presentation quality was world-class. It has really exceeded every single expectation I could have ever had. We thought it was a really good idea and opportunity for us to see what the young minds can come up with.
So the experience with Brand Challenges has been fantastic. Again, you heard from Katrine's feedback is that this is something, you know, with equal opportunity. Some of the biggest agencies she's working with haven't come over the hill with some of this sort of thinking. So are they ready for industry? They're definitely ready for industry. I've got no doubt about that, yeah.
And I think every year they take on, they choose a ministry or a charity and they ask them if they'd like to be involved. So we leapt at the chance to be involved. So it was amazing. Yeah, the insights, some of the insights were so profound. The way they presented it was so professional. And I thought, gosh, I could actually work with you. There's so much we could be doing, there's so much we should be doing, that these students had shown us kind of a world of what was out there, of possibilities for our brand and for our organisation. And the challenge now is for us to take it and run with it.
Ready? Ready? Okay. Now, more than ever, in a world of uncertainty, we reflect. Never before has our planet needed change makers and game changers more. Those who refuse to accept, roll over, settle. Now more than ever, we need bravery. Say no to apathy, to indifference, to what can I do? to being beat. Now's the time to rise up, rise above, say yes to passion. Compassion is in fashion. Dash in forward, upwards and towards a future we want to live in. Pick up the pen. Now more than ever, we need creative minds, strategic leaders, brands built with purpose, businesses that look beyond the bottom line, who see sustainability as the starting line. It's time to rethink. Good thing us thinkers have been staring out of windows our whole lives, imagining better. Imagine that. An idea that changes the world is inside you. Now more than ever, there's hope. A hope that the greatest generation is coming up. A generation not defined by age, but by what it leaves behind. Now more than ever.
Be the greatest.
The greatest.
The greatest. The greatest generation.
Generation.
Ebang moloko o iphethile.
The best generation.
Okay. Now more.
'24 qualifications, and over 50,000 students have graduated since 2005. We have 23 campuses and 6 facilities. We're also accredited through the British Accreditation Council. Michelle will take you through a little bit more about that in her presentation further on in tonight's presentation. Vega has 5 different campuses. We have a Cape Town campus, a Johannesburg campus, a Durban campus, and a Pretoria campus. We also have an online campus which offers all our postgraduate courses that we're offering tonight. So all these campuses, they all offer exactly the same courses, Joburg being our biggest campus and Cape Town being our second biggest campus. One of the things that set Vega apart from any other institution is that we offer a module called Brand Challenge. It's one of those things that really sets us apart. It's where our postgraduate students work with our third-year students across all the various disciplines. They get clients that come in and brief them in on real-life projects with real-life branding and marketing problems. They work on the project for about 4 weeks, and this year, for the very first time, we'll be running it online, which is very, very exciting, and across all the campuses and will be national. One of the other things that we really benchmark ourselves on is that we have a great industry relationship with captains of industry. We encourage students to get involved with different agencies and marketing companies and actually immerse themselves within the industry. It's either through an internship or a mentorship program where you can spend up to 120 hours within an agency or marketing company and really gain real life experience. A lot of students have done this internationally. They've taken on different brands over different time, and it really is something that gets your teeth into what the industry has to offer. So why Vega? If we look at Vega, we were ranked the #1 tertiary brand by the Lewis in 2019 annual official rankings. We have the strongest industry engagement through industry-focused briefs. Our guest lecturers are captains of industry. We work on real-life brands and challenges, and our industry immersions are something that we really, really benchmark ourselves on. We're the only brand-focused school in the country, and the lecturers that we have are not just academics, but they have industry experience and therefore have up-to-date and industry developments and requirements. The IIE holds international accreditation from the British Accreditation Council, and all our business and marketing students are trained in innovation, and all creative students are trained in strategy, which makes us really different to any other institution. I'm going to introduce you to Dr. Carla Enslin. Dr. Carla Enslin was a founding member of the IIE's Vega School and is the head of strategy and new business development. Carla is going to take you through what the reasons are behind studying a postgrad. Carla's been teaching into the postgrad space at Vega since its inception. So Carla, I'm going to hand over to you. Thank you, Carla.
Good evening.
You're with us because you're investing time. You're investing a set of questions, a set of thoughts, and what it is that you're about to commit to. The idea of postgraduate studies. And I think that in itself is often a very daunting experience if you are in the process of completing your qualification. It's really thinking about a future, a career, evolving your undergrad into a space and a place that you believe is going to deliver a purpose-driven, exciting and exhilarating career. If you're in industry at this point in time, you're mindful of what it is that you're achieving, but also understanding what it is that you have in mind. Perhaps you have a desire to shift your focus. Perhaps you have a desire to extend yourself into new strategic ways of doing and thinking, maturing yourself academically, taking on new opportunities. Working through that decision, finding your sense of certainty, making that commitment is in and of itself a big step to take. And I'd encourage you to really engage with people, engage with industry, engage with individuals who are active in this space, but undertake every conversation with at least 3 critical factors in mind. Ask yourself, is it a program designed and composed to address the challenges that the future might hold in context of business models, in context of brand identities, in context of brands connecting with markets, and brands really adding value in highly challenging circumstances at this point in time, but often also in developing market environments? Is it a program that is real world in its orientation? Is it a program that relies on real briefs, presenting real and current challenges, giving you the opportunity to find creative and strategic solutions and really learning how to develop strategy? Understanding its academic depth, yes. Understanding context, but the how-to dynamic of it, absolutely vital. So consider composition, consider design, and consider to what extent that program is going to engage with the real world in markets, in design, in business, and in brand. Secondly, consider to what extent a faculty would be not only a community of people that you have an opportunity to spend time with in a studio or in a lecture room. Consider to what extent your faculty are individuals passionate about their fields, academically qualified, as faculties would be at numerous institutions, but also engaged with industry. In the world of strategy, in the world of brand building, in the world of engaging with postgraduate studies towards new business models and doing things differently, you have to engage with individuals who are applying their academic practice, their research practice to the real world, who are active currently in industry, applying models and tools and ways of thinking to real world conditions. The third variable that I would consider investing in postgraduate studies is, am I joining a community of individuals, peers, colleagues, who are in all probability equally passionate about advancing their careers, advancing strategy in brand, business, or design? But am I joining a community of people who are in all probability going to become those individuals that I co-launch brands with, that I will in all probability work with, traveling through my career, traveling through opportunities? And if you have the desire to become an entrepreneur and launch your own consultancy, am I in a community, in a network of people who are equally excited, equally passionate to engage with thinking that is going to challenge norms, that will result in new ways of thinking, new ways of doing, and potentially connect with markets, launching new product concepts, launching new business models, shifting how industries are just falling into habit, but potentially also creating new opportunities, new innovations. And I think in that context, you need the support of people equally passionate, not only in faculty, but also in your student body, the peers that you'll be working with in transdisciplinary teams on real life challenges. It's building that network as you're engaging with faculty, as you're investing in a program with a design that is real world. Maturing this and thinking is a very important aspect at Vega. And if you consider the model that you have in front of you at this point in time, on a degree level, you've really engaged with different challenges, different academic components, and you've gained a sense of agility in terms of how they are to be applied. You might be frustrated in the sense that you now have the academic knowledge, but you don't have that sense of certainty yet in strat planning, whether it's in a business, marketing, or a communications environment. But you're moving into a postgraduate field specifically to learn how to become strategically more agile in relating things, in understanding how brands inform new business models, in understanding how a brand is brought to life through many dimensions, various departments, units, whether it's logistics or communications. It's your agility to relate things strategically and activate them, implement them successfully. We're also mindful of how our postgraduate students at Vega mature into master students and become individuals who are now able to identify challenges in industry, wrestle specific problems, engage in research exercises to produce interesting new guidelines, new frameworks. And so we mature students into PhDs that eventually are strong, certain in developing new models, new ways of doing, and publishing those effectively. So in a nutshell, be mindful of three critical factors. To what extent is a program designed with a real world in mind, maturing my agility across academic levels as I forward myself in terms of my academic career? Your decision now affects your master's or your MBA. Your decision now affects the academic future you have in mind. Secondly, am I really embracing a faculty of individuals passionate about what they do, but engaged with industry, applying practice to real life? And thirdly, is it a network of individuals that I will co-manage brands with, if not co-lead my agency or consultancy with? It's a pleasure to be with you and to hand over to Anthea, who will be introducing Michelle O'Hara, who is one of our program leads in the postgraduate space. Thank you, Anthea.
Thank you, Carla, and thank you for your great insights and your advice. Before we get to Michelle, I have the honor of introducing to you an alumni that studied her postgraduate at Vega in 2013. Her name is Bluma Sorka. Bluma Sorka is currently the Senior Brand Manager for Chivas Regal and Glenlivet. Ms. Blue has had an interesting life path and an interesting career path, and we asked Blue to share some of her insights on how studying a postgraduate at Vega actually advanced her on a personal level.
My name is Bluma Soga, and I'm a senior brand manager for the Glenlivet and Chivas Regal in South Africa through Pernod Ricard. So before I start talking about my journey, I'd like to share my purpose in life, which is to forge a pathway that empowers humanity, in particular women. And this is towards self-development, towards self-management, towards self-love and self-realization, while at the same time never underestimating the power of curiosity. Because I fully believe that when one has a desire to know and learn, curiosity will then ignite your mind, forcing it to come alive. So my journey at Vega was never really planned. And I remember my parents weren't fully sold on the idea of studying at a private institution. But I knew after completing my undergrad in Bachelor of Social Science, majoring in media and marketing in UKZN, that I wanted to improve my disciplines, because a discipline is what sets the difference between mediocrity and greatness. And that's where Vega comes in. I took out a student loan, believe it or not, and I relocated to Cape Town to do my postgrad in brand leadership that I completed in 2013. In a year, I gained so much confidence from a good foundational source. And trust me when I say that if one has, or one of those sources of your confidence is your educational attainment, no one, and absolutely no one, can take that away from you. So during my year with Vega, I was eager and I remember willing to find out about things that I wasn't sure about from my undergrad. And thereafter, I was able to release my potential to achieve the most incredible things in my career and life. I've become open to the possibilities of my purpose, which is what we started saying in the beginning. And I think that's because inquisitive people ask questions and they seek answers and they wonder how things work and try fresh solutions, or approaches rather, to old problems. So don't be afraid to not settle for what is considered the norm. Some of the individuals who then think they don't need to continue their education reason that not all jobs require you to have that higher educational degree. While this is true on some levels, but if you want to increase your job employment, or you want to increase your job marketability, or you want to, I'm sure your parents want to hear this, but you want to obviously get a higher paying job, then continuing your education is almost a must. Look at the entire situation as if you are the employer. So yes, mom, and yes, dad, or whether it is your guardian or someone that is funding your postgrad, this is about securing your child's future. It makes them a good candidate for some other employers looking for that non-mediocre skill set, experience, and education attainment. And to some of the students that are still, I don't know, let's say, fence sitting on the decision whether or not to do a postgrad, let's face it, I know going back to school may be a little bit daunting and it may be not the most exciting thing to do in the world. However, you are sacrificing the now for a better future. Nor did I stop. I what I'm trying to say is that this is why I didn't just stop from furthering my studies with Vega. I wanted to make sure that I was not settling. It's been 7 years after completing my degree, and I've built hyper-localized strategies for some of the world's best liquor brands. I've written comprehensive stories for one of the best urban millennial print magazine in South Africa, and I've hosted the most thought-provoking shows on South Africa's #1 news and talks radio station. And that's because I've always known that in order to create the life that I want, and like, it is amazing, I'm not going to lie about it, that I shouldn't, and I know that I would never settle for less. So I would like to end off with a reasonably known quote from Steve Jobs, obviously, and I'd like to say that, or rather it says that your work is going to fill a large part of your life. And the only way to be truly satisfied is to do what you believe is great work. And the only way to do great work is to love what you do. If you haven't found it yet, keep looking. Don't settle. And as with all matters of the heart, you'll know when you find it. And like any great relationships, it just gets better and better as the years roll on. So keep looking until you find it. do not settle. Thank you.
Blue and truly inspiring talk, and yes, I believe an amen is due there. Thank you very much. I'm going to introduce you to Michelle O'Hara, who's the National Head of Honours and Postgraduate Diploma Programs. Michelle's going to be taking you through the different IIE Vega postgraduate qualifications that we deliver on the different campuses. Please feel free to ask any questions in the chat box in our YouTube channel, and we'll pick up the questions at the end of the presentation, but feel free to ask during your presentation. So Michelle, thank you very much for joining us, and over to you.
Thanks, Anthea, and thanks to everyone who's joined us this evening. And thank you very much to Dr. Carla Enslin, whose words this evening we will refer to as we move through the different honours and postgraduate diploma programs. I'd like to just start by again contextualizing the world that you are studying in and the qualifications that organizations like Forbes, the World Economic Forum, Ernst & Young, these sorts of organizations have been putting reports out for a couple of years now, highlighting the skills that are expected in today's workplace. And it's interesting to note that most of them involve creativity, critical thinking, intelligence about the society that we live in socially. And obviously this is all going to be accelerated now and due to the circumstances that are providing us opportunities for doing things differently. We've embraced critical thinking, creative thinking since the inception of Vega. And so it's very exciting for us to know that what we're doing is aligned with the world of work and that our students will be able to manage creatively and in an agile way, as Dr. Enslin referred to. So in the postgrad space, we offer diplomas. We'll be looking at the postgrad diploma in brand building this evening. We offer a variety of honors. We'll be focusing tonight on strategic brand communication and strategic brand management. And then, as Dr. Enslin said, all our programs articulate through into a master's and after that into doctoral studies. So just to put that in context, most of you will probably at the moment be finishing off NQF7 studies, in other words, an undergraduate degree, or you would be in possession of an undergrad, or an advanced diploma, which would give you entry into an honors or postgraduate diploma at NQF8. So we just want to emphasize the postgrad diploma, the honors are at the NQF8 levels as per the Council on Higher Education Requirements. They can articulate into an NQF9. Excuse me. So let's have a look first at our postgraduate diploma in brand building. You will probably see that more and more institutions are adding postgrad diplomas to their offerings. And this is a very exciting space, again related to the market, the changing workplace, where versatility and agility are valued. So we see more and more professionals, as Carla said, wanting to shift in careers, wanting to shift into different spaces. And what the postgrad diplomas give you the opportunity to do is possibly combine an undergrad in one field with a postgrad in branding. As we said, you're online because you're passionate about brands and branding. And so, for example, we've had people come through the PG dip with an undergrad in chemistry, but passionate about working for one of the top pharmaceutical companies and wanting to know more about brand and business to add to their specialist knowledge. We have psychology students who've joined us. They are interested in consumer psychology, the exciting world of consumer insight, where more and more corporates are understanding the need to really delve into insights about their the ability to network with people from different fields, different spheres, and again, that would provide that very solid networking of the future in your career, in your workplace. So the postgrad offers you solid modules in brand building, brand and business, so that you truly understand what brands are about and how we build brands, and then you will look at how we communicate those brands. Synergy being very, very important. Again, we don't teach in silos at Vega. We make sure that you understand the relationship between a brand strategy, a communication strategy, a media strategy, and so that you are able to apply all of that to real world briefs. So with your PG DIP, you could, as we said, take your specialization into many different areas, building brands through brand strategy, becoming a brand communications manager, focusing on client service in your particular sector or industry of interest. And so not only is the program versatile in terms of accommodating people from different backgrounds, but it also enables you to be versatile in the marketplace. When we have a look now at the BA Honours in Strategic Brand Communication, this is where we explore the strategy that takes us right through from the bigger picture of brand and brand strategy. We travel through communication strategy. We travel through all the different consumer contact points. We travel to the different communication tools that we can use, things like advertising, PR, sponsorship, etc. And then we have a look specifically at the different media platforms that we can use, digital media, traditional media. So again, you can see how we put our modules together so that they are not siloed, but so that they build one onto the other. And then you will do a research project. It's academic research. And what differentiates Vega is that we don't give you a topic that everybody has to work on. We allow you to work within your own area of passion, of interest, of strength, and to develop a study that you can actually present as part of your own personal brand portfolio to the type of organization that you wish to work for. You could look at publishing in collaboration with one of your navigators, publishing an article that would get you recognized in your area of passion. And I'm sorry, I omitted to say that research is also a module for our PG DIP students, so that everyone is able to actually work in depth on their areas of passion, to possibly publish and really explore their areas of interest. Now, with your BA in Strategic Brand Communication, you could become a brand communication manager for a corporate, or you could become a strat planner in a brand consultancy, brand communication agency. So it doesn't restrict you either to corporate or to the consultancy space. It allows you to pursue whatever you are most passionate about. Within a corporate, you could be a promotions manager, you could go into a public relations consultancy, you could do event management. So again, I think you can see the options are many for the strategic brand communication program. If we have a look now at the BCom honors in strategic brand management, this is for the person who has done an undergrad BCom. So you couldn't, for example, have a BA undergrad and now move into a BCom. But what we do is to take your BCom undergrad modules in finance, in business management, in economics, etc., and show you how they are applied if you are managing a brand. So this particular program suits the person who wants to manage a brand holistically. You might want to go into one of the big FMCG companies, financial services, or you might want to manage, for example, a musician as a brand, or a place as a brand, an area that is of interest to tourists. So whatever that brand may be, you need to manage that brand holistically. So that is looking at its financial viability, looking at how you would actually communicate the brand. So there are a lot of different aspects to brand that we cover here. And we would travel through, again, introductory modules in terms of what are brands and brand building. You would look at the strategic management and leadership of the brand, which at undergrad you would have done with a business focus. We are now doing it with a brand focus. How does brand determine how a company is led and managed? You would then look at the financial, economic, and legal aspects and how a brand manager uses those in collaboration, obviously, with other departmental managers within an organization or consultancies. If you are an entrepreneur or a small business, you would be liaising with those people. So the agility, the ability to network, the way in which we work together with a lot of different stakeholders and partners is core to what we focus on and teach. All right, so if we just have a look, I know this is very literal, but how the puzzle pieces fit together, there is collaboration between the BA honors in strategic brand communication students and those students focusing more in the brand management area. You would work together on some common modules like brand and brand building that get everybody on the same page. You would then go into your areas of specialization. So the management students would be looking at management and leadership, finance, economics, etc., while the communication students here are focusing on communication strategy, channel and media planning. And then you would all come together again in terms of doing research and the brand challenge, which I'll touch on now. But running throughout all of these modules is the thinking that Carla touched on, that we have seen World Economic Forum, Forbes, etc., focusing on. Design thinking, creative thinking, agile thinking, systemic thinking, critical thinking, that all contribute to innovative problem solving, which is what Vega has become known for. And that is why we have so many clients coming to us for brand challenge, briefing us and allowing us the opportunity to work on their brands. So there are areas of specialization and there are areas of collaboration in our degrees. The entry requirements, you will get more information on our website from our contact navigators. But very quickly and basically, the postgrad diploma, you would need a bachelor's degree or an advanced diploma at NQF7 level. We would also have the opportunity for you, if you don't have those formal qualifications, to do a recognition of prior learning application. That is really for people with many, many years of experience in industry at a management level. The BA honors, you would need a cognate bachelor's degree. So that would be in branding, marketing, communication, those sorts of areas, or again, an appropriate advanced diploma in branding, marketing comm, with a minimum final year average of 60%. If for some reason you had one module, for example, that let you down and you achieved a 55 to 59% average, you could then do a short learning program with us. Or if you have 60% for a core module, you could again apply, and then we would put you through a short learning program where you would need to get 65% for your final presentation. The BCom honors, as I said, you have to have a BCom undergrad with accounting or preferably financial management, but either of those, and economics or stats. So that would be important. Again, you need a final year average of 60% or an average of 55 to 59 with a 60% in your designated core discipline. But we would discuss this with you on a one-on-one basis to have a look at, where you are at and how we need to go forward. Brand Challenge, as we've all alluded to, we are known for, our students will tell you, this was a highlight of their studies at Vega. You will have the opportunity, and you can see here from our 2018 clients, students working on big brands such as MultiChoice or Nivea, DSTV. So big brands that have come to us over the years. There are many, many more. You might be working on a smaller brand, very exciting restaurant chain there that we worked on. And then we do a percentage of our work because, again, the type of person that comes to Vega is passionate about community. As Carla spoke about, not only networking amongst individuals, but the networking amongst businesses and community, NPOs, etc. So a wide variety of brands where the client would come in, brief you. You would have a panel of our navigators to support you through the process, give you feedback as you develop your strategies, your creative direction, and then you present to clients who will also give you feedback. So this year we are totally online, but there you see from past challenges, presentations online, students getting together to present, etc. A very, very exciting project for all of us. We all learn from each other. Then we do encourage you to get involved with competitions. At the moment, we're busy working on Microsoft Design Expo. We had a team last year that qualified to go through to the States to present. This year, we have a group of students qualified to go through to the national finals of L'Oreal Brandstorm in South Africa and the opportunity to go through and present possibly in Paris. So those are the types of projects we are involved in. And then our BCom students all do a business simulation, which is usually done at MBA level, but we expose our students to the honors level version of a business simulation, where over a period of 2 days you will run an online business with changing variables that simulates exactly what happens in a workplace. So that also very exciting. Our students are incredibly enthusiastic about how that has added to their abilities once they hit the workplace. So I know you've been entering questions that we can address now. So thank you very, very much for being with us this evening. We look forward to seeing you at Vega and becoming a Veganite. Thanks so much, everybody.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you so much for such an informative session. There's many, many questions that have come up in the chat box, but I suspect there might be some more coming up. So before we get to the questions, I would like to hand over to Ntabiseng Mashile. She's a senior contact nav from the Bordeaux campus in Johannesburg, and she's going to be taking you through the admission and application requirements for the different courses. So Mashile, I'm going to hand over to you, and then we'll answer the questions afterwards, and Carla and Michelle will answer those questions. Thank you, and over to you, Mashile.
Thank you, Anthea. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining in the session this evening. My name is Ntabiseng Mashile, and I am the Senior Contact Navigator at the Bordeaux Johannesburg campus. And I'd briefly like to go through with you the admission process for postgrad studies at the IIE Vega School. Step 1 is to visit our website and complete an online application, or simply just call in and book a consultation with one of our contact navigators. A contact navigator from the admissions department will be in contact with you to provide you with more information on the application process. Step 2, the required documents that will be needed from you is an ID copy of the student or a passport copy for international students, a national senior certificate or final secondary results, an undergrad transcript, official transcript, and with your undergrad certificate once available, together with a proof of payment of the early bird application fee of 700 Rand. Step 3, once all your supporting documents together with the application form have been received, your application will then be processed. Step 4, the registrar will then make that final decision and provide the final feedback on the status of your application. And lastly, an acceptance letter will then be issued to the student, and thereafter a contact navigator from the registration department will be in contact with you to further provide you with the early bird registration information and the discounts that we have. So simple steps, 5 simple steps, but should you have any more information or require any more information on the admission or registration information, please do visit our website and inquire there. And remember, don't settle and be the greatest generation. A good evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Mashile. That was really informative. So we've had a number of questions come up. I'm going to, in no particular order, and either Carla or Michelle, you can pick up any of these questions. So Mieke van der Veen asks, how many people can one expect in a postgraduate honors class normally?
Hi. It will obviously depend on the campus. But we don't have more than about 50 students in a class. And then we also break those classes into smaller sandpits for some of our sessions. But obviously on a smaller campus, it might be a smaller group.
Thanks, Mish. On another note, is it from pieced together, is it possible to do an honors part-time in 1 year?
Okay, no, unfortunately, it's not possible to do it in 1 year. The part-time is scheduled and scaffolded over a 2-year period. Just remember, to do an honours research project is quite an undertaking. So to do your 4 modules plus your research project will take you more than a year.
Thanks, Michelle. Another question from Mika. Her question from Mika is, what does the honours timetable usually look like? For example, with a certain time spread in the morning or spread over the whole day or ending later in the afternoon?
Mika, again, that will depend on the campus, but if you are a full-time student, you are expected to spend most of your time on campus. Lectures could be scheduled throughout the day, but there is a good amount of group work to do. So you spend quite a lot of time in studio, in collaborative groups, etc. So a full-time student ideally should be just that, full-time. If you do have a job, we advise you to study part-time.
Thank you, Michelle. I think this is a question from 2 people. Shamise asked, can I do an honours degree with no background in BCom? I don't know if it was mentioned already. And I think it's doubled up from a question from Emma, who says, are students who have studied the BBA undergrad at Vega able to study a BCom? So first question is, can you study a BCom with just any degree, or whether you can study it with a BBA? Mesh, maybe you can answer that.
Yeah, you certainly can with your the BBA. It depends on which modules you've done in the BBA, if you've come from outside institutions. So for a BCom, you could not come and do a BCom with a BA General, for example. But if you have a BBA with the requisite finance, economics, or stats type modules, yes.
Thanks, Michelle. Another question that's come up is, can students switch from full-time to part-time mid-year?
From full-time to part-time should not be a problem. But remember that the full-time runs over 1 year, whereas the part-time runs over 2 years. So again, it will just depend on which modules you've already done full-time and which would be offered part-time.
Thank you, Michelle. And then another question coming through is, when do we need to finally submit our application? Because our marks only come out at the end of the year. So what's the latest we can submit our application? Maybe Mashilia, maybe you should pick that up if Michelle.
Yeah, Mashilia?
Hi, sorry, Michelle, can you please repeat the question?
Sure, I'll repeat it. It's by when should we fully submit our application, considering we get our marks only at the end of the year?
I got that, thank you. So you can proceed by submitting your latest undergrad transcript. So we understand that the second semester is not completed as yet. So the acceptance letter will be provisional pending your final results. So you can start with the application and together with the early bird registration, once you have your first semester or any latest undergrad results, you can start with the process.
If I could just add to that, we really do recommend that you get your applications in as soon as possible for 2 reasons. Number one, as we've said, we do have relatively small classes, so it's important that you get that application in as soon as you can. And then The second reason for applying as soon as possible is that our programs are obviously numbers dependent. So if, for example, we had a small class application or an application from very few students on one campus, we would look at offering that program on another campus. So it's very important that we know upfront how many applications are coming in. So please get them in ASAP.
Thanks, Mish. Another question for Mashile is, are we supposed to pay the deposit by the July the 31st for the early bird registration, and how much is the deposit if so?
Thank you for that question, Anthea. So we are currently running with the early bird registration. So what it basically means with the early bird, it's to qualify you for the 2020 fee rate into 2021. So the fees that are on the website are currently for 2021. So paying your deposit will then qualify you for that rate. So with the early bird registration contract, the deposit currently is 12,000 for undergrad. For postgrad is 8,000, but we've put a lot into consideration due to the COVID and the economy that we've come with the payment plan that you can pay your 50% deposit, which is the 4,000 or the 6,000 depending on the postgrad qualification, and the balance of the 50% to be paid by the 31st of January before registration in 2021. Thank you.
Thanks, Mashile. Another question that we've got here. I applied for the BA Honours in Strategic Brand Communication. However, I didn't meet the entry of 60%. So how long is the short course to get the 60 or 65%?
Thank you. The short learning program is a 2-day program. It's quite intense. And at the end of those 2 days, you need to present to a panel, and then we would revert to you pretty soon after that to advise you if you have met the 65% minimum required to move into the BA Honours.
Thank you, Michelle.
And sorry, just to add to that, you would, however, qualify for the PG dip. So that, that's another option.
Thank you so much. So Carla, there's a few questions for the Masters. I think a lot of people are looking for more information on the Masters in more detail. So maybe you can just answer in terms of where they can find more information or whether they should contact you directly. But one of the questions that have come up is, can they do a Masters online? We have somebody that studies or is living in Swaziland and would really like to do her Masters. It's Wetu Jonga. So Wetu, maybe Carla can answer your question on whether Masters can be done online.
Hi there, Wetu, and all the other potential Veganites interested in the Master's program. It's a dissertation-based, in other words, a research-based Master's program. And although it's not offered online, it is certainly a relationship that is predominantly managed online. You do, however, meet up with your colleagues undertaking research once a year, and definitely also for your proposal defense. So there's certain critical points during the development of your dissertation where you do want to meet up with a panel, either for your review or for the input, the critical input that you receive from industry experts. You are most welcome to contact any one of our contact navigators on any one of our 4 campuses, and we will put you into a direct relationship with our head of program, Professor Nina de Klerk, and she will then guide you into a specific concept for your master's program. What exactly is it that you wish to conduct research on, that you believe you can address as an industry problem? And we'll assist you in crafting that concept and then developing a proposal. Once you successfully defend that proposal, you are registered.
Thank you, Carla. I think there's one more question that is surrounding the advice of when to study your honours. Should you take a gap year and work before doing your honours, or should you jump straight into honours after studying your degree?
Okay, I think gap years are an interesting topic, and there are many different views and dimensions. I think it's, what we are definitely seeing is it depends entirely on the individual. There are some people who have moved straight from an undergrad into an honours, done exceptionally well. There are as many people, students, who have decided to go and work or to take a travel gap year and then come back and done their honours very, very successfully. Equally, we have people in their 50s who have come back to do an honours, having worked in industry for a long period of time. So I think it's very much about the individual. And again, you would be welcome to contact me to chat about it on a personal level and see what's going to be best for you.
Thank you, Mish. And then just to reiterate, Mashili, by when should people pay for the early bird deposit? Is it by the end of July? There's three questions that have come up on that.
Thank you, Anthea. So I touch base on the registration early bird deposit. Just to highlight the fact that we still need to start the application process. So the early bird application fee currently is 700. So once that's sorted together with your supporting documents, and you received your letter, we'll then proceed with. Sorry, Carla? Okay, so once you've received your acceptance letter, we'll send through the registration information. So the early bird currently is ending by the 31st of July. So with that, you can then pay the 50% deposit now by the 31st of July, with the other balance by the 31st of January next year. So we do advise that you proceed with your application earlier, so that then we are able then to process your application documents on time. And once you've received your undergrad official transcript, then we can then process and prepare for the registration that takes place in January in 2021. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And it seems like all the questions have been answered. And a huge thank you to all our guests tonight, to Dr. Carla Enslin, to Bluma Soka, to Michelle, and to Mashile. It's been really nice having you on, and to everybody that's attended it. I think it's been a really great session, and I hope informative. And please do go onto our website and make contact with our contact navs if you want to get any more information, and do apply. We look forward to having you as a Veganite. And yes, and thanks again for joining our evening. Thank you. Good night.